Welcome to Less Stupid with Croz K and Danny, creators of the animated short Trash Planet. We welcome you into a podcast episode that was a little bit interrupted by a couple of phone calls and technical issues. We apologize, but we think you will enjoy the conversation nonetheless.
Welcome everybody to Less Stupid with Thomas.
With Thomas. Yep.
Welcome everybody to Less Stupid with Thomas Hiura. It's a show that's completely uncut, uncensored, and unsure why I'm sitting next to this person and he's making me laugh so much. Oh, golly goodness.
You didn't even let me get a word in.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Crosby Kneale, from Eugene, Oregon.
Hey.
I've made some music and with people, and they like it, and I like it too. Shut up.
No, I was listening to that Pete Holmes podcast today. It's just that motherfucker laughs so much. It adds to the show.
I guess. Hey, welcome to the Pete Holmes podcast. Because it's so funny, you're going to fucking laugh at everything. Every single thing you hear.
In the
Back
realm
to you,
of
Thomas.
Podcasts. Now, I have known you for quite a long time. For people
True.
who have known me as Gradient, those people have also known you as Odar or Odar Beats.
Yep.
You make some of the dopest beats on this side of the Mississippi or the Columbia or the Willamette.
Arguable.
I'll argue it any goddamn day, my friend.
That's a weird thing to say, but okay, proceed.
And, God, later I'm going to be like, why was I so giggly that episode?
Get with it, Chuckles. What do you want?
The point is, you were the first guest on Sammy Warmhand's Take 92 podcast.
Yes.
Talked about Motown and other topics like Motown and how good it is, and
Yes.
like the musical and sonic quality of the recordings made during the era of Motown. So, yeah, what kind of things have influenced you musically? Would you list Motown as one of them?
I don't want to lean on it, but Motown? Like, I don't want to, again, like it's a pretty heavy influence of Motown. But
The Motor City, baby.
it really comes from some of the earliest memories that I make as a person were, and it was a lot of the music I was exposed to, was Motown. It was on an oldies radio station in California where I lived in Hemet with, my mom, my dad, my brother, and for some reason, the oldie stations were the ones that stuck. Because then when we moved to Oregon, I was 5, and those oldie stations were still playing those same things. And
Yeah.
it's funny because hip-hop led me back to it 20-some years later when I wanted to learn how to make beats and Webb, a.k.a.
Gabe Morley.
Yeah, Gabe Morley.
Former drummer of Yob.
Yeah. Dude's bananas in making beats. And when it was so interesting because talking to him at work, he just kept coming back to, well, you got to sample what you know, like the things that make you.
Right. For me, it would be the music in Pokemon Silver when you get on the bicycle and it goes doo-dung, dung, 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 dung. And that, I think
that's
people
so
can hear that
amazing because
energy
I
in my
have
rap
no
music.
relevance to that. Because I'm old, Thomas. Pokemon was beyond me. Like when Pokemon became a thing.
I'm 26. I still love Pokemon.
You're only 26? Dude, that's great news, actually. Like, I thought you were older. That's great.
Oh,
dude,
it's the beard I'm doing for my movie role.
Dude, you have great years ahead of you. That's the thing. I was just like, great, dude. You haven't hit 30s yet. I thought you were at least 27 or 28 based on your drive.
Oh.
And just
It was only 120
your
miles
output
here.
and things that you do. So that's it's fantastic news.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my feeling is by the time I'm 28 or 29, all that energy is just going to be gone.
Well, no, dude, you're running for mayor, motherfucker.
Yes, I am. Darn right. Well, okay.
Tom Sayer is
in terms of
running
vigor,
for mayor.
there are
fucking sweat it.
If you look at
don't vote
two
for
of the
him,
front running
I
candidates
will
for mayor,
personally find you and fucking wreck your life.
wow, that's not a message I endorse. And y'all on Spotify and Apple need to listen to this on YouTube because your life. This guy's deadpan look into an iPhone that is sitting on a suitcase.
Please note,
not
no
even
blinking.
The phone is resting on a suitcase that we're using the phone to film it, and this is not even like a main like 50-pound suitcase. This is like a roller bag suitcase you would throw up into the
Zero blinking
overhead.
I'm fucking crazy. If you don't even know.
Crazy.
Oh, I guess
Crosby.
a blink. I guess a blink counts as a.
Come on down
okay.
to Crazy Crosby's beat
wink.
selection.
Sorry.
We got beats from Motown. We got the East Coast, I don't know, Plinky Nas beats. We got the G-Funk 2-pack beats.
I do have to say though, like in terms of beat making, the East Coast stuff is just more influential. I was about
Straight
to say
up.
better. There's just something about it. Where they're sampling from.
Let's do this. Let's be the two white guys in Portland who are going to talk about West Coast versus East Coast influence in hip-hop. No, I'm into it. We just have to
Hi, I'm
acknowledge
Crosby
that
Kneale, and I'm
first.
terrible.
No. It's okay to have opinions. I just wanted to preface it. No,
Let's
why
begin.
why would you say that? Because, I mean, come on. Kendrick is like often considered, he won a freaking Pulitzer Prize, and he's born directly out of the Compton freaking scene and style.
Yeah, and there's something that I think is often undersold about Kendrick Lamar, specifically with his producer. Oh my God, how can I forget this? 'Cause I love it. Oh, Derek Ali.
Okay.
Derek mixed by Ali is his alias. Dude just understands it. If you listen to TDE mixes overall, you can tell that he has his hand in it, and it's great.
They've got like a crispness to them.
Yes, but it's not too crisp. It's not too digital. It's
Right.
not too analog. It's not too much of anything, and I think that's to me as a producer, infuriatingly like inspirational
Right.
thing about it is my friend George gets this because he went to audio engineering school in LA, and that was one of those things that we
which you
bonded
taught
on.
for a little bit, right? Later.
No, I got to assist in a
Okay.
class. And it was very, very cool because you got to see a different type of class.
Got
The
it.
class
I was just
that
trying to
went
big
through-
up you because
That's very sweet.
But anyway, your friend Derek.
Smooches. But yeah, like when I was doing assisting, it was different because I saw a completely different group of people and music makers versus when I was going through it. I saw a diversity of indie music makers, electronic music makers, and then like acoustic and folk and hip hop, like all these different things. When I assisted, everyone was a laptop beat maker.
Right.
They all used FL Studio,
Right.
and some of the stuff they would come up with is amazing. Like I can't. It was great. That was the thing, and it was so fun to be a part of that because then when they had to record things and make things in real time, they still created just some of the greatest stuff. Like it was inspirational because I got to be like the example of like, Mel Stark, Melissa Stark, out of Eugene. She teaches at LCC. She also is a recording artist, and she's also an engineer, a wonderful engineer. She was the person who let me be her right-hand person.
Nice.
And it was so much fun, but at the same time, I got to learn more as I was getting to demonstrate things. So it was like, hey, we're going to do a 1 mic setup on drums.
Nice.
Cool. Now we're going to do 2. Now we're going to do 3. And then you just go on to like, we're going to do a 9 mic setup.
Yeah.
How is that?
Neil Peart, Beezy.
And just start like, all I'm doing is demonstrating on drums.
Right.
Like, here's a break beat or something like that. But it was so influential just to get to have that experience. It was wonderful.
That's very cool. When I think about audio engineering, especially now in the SoundCloud era, man,
Yes.
How do you teach what is objectively right? How do you teach the art of engineering audio well while also being a lot of these things in terms of making like a final mix sound done, sound polished, sound finished. How do you balance the fact that, some of those things are subjective and there's obviously things that anyone behind the board should know?
Sure. Well, I think there's a thing that SoundCloud did that a lot of people don't acknowledge, which was it provided a platform for people to create, and it didn't matter the quality of it.
Yeah.
So to me, that's very punk rock. That is, I don't care how this necessarily looks or is presented, but this is what I made. That's how I think when certain people got popular through SoundCloud, that it was apparent, because the things that they did were just these genuine things they just put out on this platform,
right?
But went fucking platinum.
Dude,
you kind of get it. You just go.
Mo Bamba was the biggest song of 2018. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't.
Okay,
and I'm okay with that.
Later, yeah,
great.
It's
because I want to learn.
It was
about
all
these things.
freestyled. It was a guy. His friend Day Trip made the beat, called him up. Sheck West shows up to his apartment in Harlem, I think. Sheck West is from Harlem. And they fucking laid the track in one take. They even had a laptop where the laptop was running so poorly that sometimes it would freeze the DAW. And so they were the take that was one of the biggest rap songs of 2018.
Yeah.
Straight up. The beat drops out and and during the main fucking vocal track he goes, "Oh fuck. Shit." And then the beat comes back in, and he fucking goes hard back into it.
You just use that shit.
They use that take.
Yes.
And they just were like, oh, the beat dropped out? Well, the beat just drops out, that part of the song now. And they use it to go to a whole different flow.
Because you can recover if you've been hitting Command S. Yeah. You can make sure. I like that, because that to me is genuinely musical.
Yeah.
You use that moment to just work with it and continue on. Writing certain things that I hear in my head and then I try and execute them, I can tell in certain areas that I'm I can see what I want to do, but it's not necessarily what I'm able to do at this moment, and that's okay.
Well, just to jump off of you had a great phrase there, genuinely musical. And when I think of that, I kind of think about some people, like our friend Sam, he wouldn't ever want to record programmed drums. If aren't there
to a degree, because he uses plugins that help enhance the drums that he records. So
yeah, drum kits.
Yes.
Maybe I'm getting. I don't want to misquote him.
No.
But and misrepresent, because he makes hip hop, so obviously he makes beats on his computer. But what do you think about? His take is generally, I think, if you have a punk band and they're making this fast, grinding, nasty punk music, but then, aren't there computer programs where you do all the drum hits and then you quantize them to make sure every quarter note is right on, and you
make sure
swap out the kick drum with a different kick?
Sure. Well, I think the thing with Sam is that he doesn't rely on it. And that's the thing that is admirable and actually, I think, more artistic, is that he only uses those things to enhance. And I think he knows that. He wants to enhance the recording that he made. He doesn't want to change it or alter it, going, man, that kick sucks. I want to replace it with this DW, blah, 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 blah. Right. He doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knows better. It's the thing. He knows that there's an integrity to the music that you need to adhere to. And for him as a creator, and a creator of a lot of content, honestly.
Tons of content. Did he surpass 1,000 albums? 100 albums?
I don't know. Is the thing. I don't know. But it would not surprise me, is the thing, because He has an uncompromisable drive.
Right.
And not just that, his vision is not zero focus into one thing. That's why, like, when he started doing hip hop, I was obviously one of his friends who was like, what? But then as soon as I saw him at Samurai Duck, I went, no, I get it.
Okay.
You should make a live band and I should be in it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I felt. I was like, I'm inspired.
Samurai Duck and John Henry's are two of the places I really wish I could have gone to.
Man,
but they no longer
there were some
exist in
times,
Eugene.
like the first time I got
part
to
of what I'm doing is we're trying to dive into Eugene history, man.
Well,
like
let's
businesses
dive
like
into
that,
John Henry's. Like, I remember a show playing with Esid, Sadistic, Carnage,
Damn.
and us, and maybe one other person.
Stacked.
And it was something like that.
Right.
That's all I can say. It was really something, because I remember, and like, I'm sorry, on a drunk level, I got to turn in one drink ticket for a 32-ounce Miller. Brother,
Ooh.
what? Oh,
Ooh.
I got a couple, but I remember just like hanging out on the side of the stage after playing and being like, man, I can't believe I'm part of this bill.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm so glad that Sam let me in his group and we got to do our thing.
Right.
But Carnage
You were a
killed it.
part of the Illusionists.
Yes, the Illusionists.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I'll always be proud
Honestly, I wouldn't have started rapping as soon in life as I did if not for that band. And I think Sam knows that.
If you don't know by now, Sam, he just said it. That's huge.
I'm a competitive dude. Also, I'm a competitive person. And
I can tell, but in
my goal
a
is
very good way.
I hope so.
Yeah, you don't
The
never
higher
come off
you
as
get
an
up
asshole.
into the ranks of it, I think it's harder to preserve your human decency and warmth. But
I don't know. I think if you can stand by the things you say and the things you do,
but I want to be successful in most of the shit I do. I don't think I'm gonna be successful in all the things I do, but like I'm kind of a sky's the limit person. Like I'm like there's a Childish Gambino lyric where he says, "I'm not trying to do Drake numbers. I'm just trying to do my best." And I'm like, hey, I want to do both. I look
the
at
problem with that is Childish Gambino's real good.
yeah,
Like,
he's better.
that's
way
the
better than-
problem.
But
Like, he doesn't have to try and be Drake because he is that good. Like,
but if you've
Donald
heard his
Glover
Poindexter
is that good.
albums
Dun, dun,
or his
dun,
I Am
dun.
Not a Rapper early like 2006, 2007 shit,
sure.
motherfucker's not that good. So
I don't agree with that. Like, even his early, yes, I'm sorry.
Oh
Even
gosh,
Donald Glover's
shouldn't-
early shit.
somebody is calling me and I gotta learn not to.
I love it.
I hope that we didn't lose video for that.
What?
Did we lose that? We still have that whole thing, right? Okay, good.
Sick.
Okay, I gotta turn the do not disturb on. I don't like editing these conversations. So,
No, man, because it sucks.
So say something interesting for like 30 seconds while I do this.
Okay.
You're not saying anything.
Thomas is an interesting man, and sometimes when he says stuff to me and I see it on Twitter, I get upset. And when he said the thing about the best white rapper, what
did I
was the
say?
thing? The best rap song by a white rapper was Beck Loser.
No,
Let's talk
by a
about
white
that.
non-rapper. That's what I said.
Oh, by
It's
non-rapper.
the best
Okay.
it's the best rap song by a white non-rapper.
Well, that's misleading, and also
It's Loser
yes,
by Beck. Come on. It's not that Blondie song.
I can't. What Blondie song?
She was rapping in like the 70s.
Jesus Christ!
It's got a music video.
I didn't know
This is
that.
like-
That makes me definitely lose stock in Blondie.
It's like sometimes thought of as the first like charting rap song. It's called the
I swear to
Rapture,
God,
I
if you
think.
say it's like Heart of Glass, I'm gonna be like, well, that's a disco song.
Right.
But
Hey, genre is a weird thing. We're in
Yeah.
a new decade. Dude, think about how many
Man, we're in a different
think about how
place.
many
Things
terms are
blend.
going to be we're in a proto period for genres that are going to emerge in like this decade, you know?
yes, and I'm actually excited about that.
Yeah.
I feel like as a musician, you should always be excited for what the future is going to be, even if you're not there. And I feel like you have to seek it out. Sometimes it's not like
What is
for
happening?
me personally. I don't know, but it sounds like a great reason to interrupt our fucking conversation.
Hey friends, are you enjoying the show? Would you enjoy it more if you had a little less money? Probably not. But at patreon.com/Hiura, you too could give a little more money to one of the many people that are always trying to get it from you. Support the podcast, patreon.com/HIURA.
We're real now.
All right, we're back, and we really hope that none of my supervisors call me telling me that I was supposed to come into work tonight. Here's what happened. I switched with somebody like a week ago. Forgot. And that's what happened.
Oh.
Yeah. But
I don't know how much sympathy to give you because I don't understand the situation fully.
right.
So,
Well, I've got 2 jobs, and I have the beautiful liberty as a human being of knowing I don't need either of those jobs.
sick. So now I feel nothing.
Good. Right.
Hi, Bagel.
We
This
have-
is Bagel. She's been a real good sport.
I don't know if she can be seen at all on the camera.
Doesn't matter.
The flowers in the way. But so what breed is Bagel?
Bagel is a beagle and a dachshund.
Okay, right on.
Right? Oh. And they just put this wonderful little I love it. Like, what do you want to call it? What is this?
Do you think Beagle prefers West Coast or East Coast hip hop?
If she's not an idiot, East Coast hip hop.
Ooh.
Shots fired. No, there's just something about East Coast hip hop, and I think it just comes from the samples. Like, if I were to dive into it, like, as a person who's like, how do you come up with these samples? DJ Premier, RZA, all these people that are based on the East Coast, they're exposed to something else.
Right.
We're out on the West, we're exposed to something else. Like, people often go right to Dr. Dre, and I honestly don't have a better reference. I don't, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, well, you could look at but no, it's Dr. Dre is looked at as the dude who went, well, West Coast is doing this.
Right.
Melodic. It had more melody,
Right.
fatter bass lines, and this more something that was different than the chopped and screwed East Coast thing.
Right.
I prefer the East Coast thing.
To
There's
me,
something about it. DJ
The
Premier.
California stuff sounds sunny. It sounds glittery. I think part of the reason that the musical...
I like that. Glittery.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think part of the reason is has a lot to do with geography. Like, if you look at New York, everybody's packed in. It's clumped. It's noisy as shit.
Yep.
And, you
Tension.
know, LP was talking with Talib Kweli on, they did like a cool episode thing.
On Talib Kweli's.
Yeah. On his show on Up Rocks. It's fucking awesome. And, you know, he's LP is like basically trying to do Bomb Squad stuff, you know. Nowadays it's like very influenced by that noisy, intense, frenetic energy. Whereas California, it's like you're literally leaning back in your car driving.
Again, very melody driven. Something very soothing,
Right.
while having like this nice beat over it. Where, yeah, like the tension that you get from something where people are in a bigger city.
Right.
And I was explaining this the other day to a coworker, Joshua Barber, who, shout out, is an awesome dude to talk about with in terms of music. Because, like, so Run the Jewels, like, he got into Run the Jewels, and I was like, great. And there was something he was like, man, there's something about it that's like kind of rock and roll. And I was like, yeah,
Sure.
it's the dissonance.
Right.
LP gravitates toward this dissonance, like Banana Clipper.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite RTJ beats.
It's fat.
Oh, it's not just that. I mean, just It's this descending over this.
Yep.
Get the fuck out, dude. It's gonna be good. But
I
then
move
you
with
have
the
LP
elegance of
and
an
Killer
African
Mike
element.
on
I
it.
invented the yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, it's just good.
It's really good.
And like, if you don't like it, DM me.
I actually think if you because I really am obsessed with the third RTJ. They're all great.
That's the one
But
I actually have the least impact on.
Well, I don't know what it is about it. I actually think it was a place in my life that I was at when it came out, and it just hooked me in. But by then,
all the shit they make is good. Like,
all the shit they make is really good.
I won't argue with that. Like, I like all the shit they make. I remember when RTJ 1 came out because a tweet from Abilities. I'm sorry. DJ Abilities.
Right.
And I was like, what is that? And then it got retweeted by all these other people I follow. And I went, okay. And I followed the link, and it was just a link to RTJ1.
Like a zip file or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I remember listening in my little studio in Springfield, Oregon, where, you know, I like finally treated the room and everything.
Sure. I've been there.
Such fucking fat 808s.
Yes.
Like, great kicks, amazing snares, and just that opening, like,
yeah.
run the Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, I actually think
I still love it, and I still have that original version and the remastered version, but I like the original. There's something neat and interesting about hearing the original cut that LP did in his studio with Killer Mike.
I feel that, man. Well, I wouldn't take away or change anything about the first one, but I'll say this. If you listen to 2 and 3,
2 is amazing.
If you listen to those two and then go back to 1 and you listen to the vocals are just they're not as like intense and confident sounding on 1. They still are. Yeah. They still are because it's Run the Jewels.
Sure.
But it was like almost like you could feel the authenticity of them jumping in on that first project, discovering that it was a freaking minefield.
Sure.
A gold mine. I just mixed metaphors. Who cares? And but then by the time they're on the second one, they're like, okay, yeah, we got Zach De La Rocha on this thing. Close your eyes and count to fuck.
So that's the thing, like
Jeopardy. I'm finna bang this the fuck out. It's like, yeah. These guys who are already like the baddest dudes having that extra confidence of like maybe being at a point in their career that they never even gotten to before they met each other.
Well, so following them on social media when they went and made RTJ 2, they were doing shrooms and shit out in this awesome studio in New York, but it was kind of in the woods. And just getting to read their kind of thing, their posts were just interesting.
Right.
Because you could tell they like being around each other.
Oh, yeah.
Killer Mike, I remember reading a few other tweets when he was just like tweeting about how appreciative he was of LP. And he was like, I remember begging LP to fucking make a beat for me. And it wasn't like begging, but he was just like, knocking at his door. Hey, man, I want to work with you. I love this stuff.
Right.
And it was just like, yeah. No, man, like, I want this to happen. And then eventually when he got his label to do rap music, which I love
with Ronald Reagan on it.
Dude.
And other
rap
classics.
Music to me is RTJ the prequel. Because
it is, yeah.
You listen to it and it sounds so good.
Yeah.
Sounds sonically so good.
Yeah.
You're like, this is RTJ.
I think it's better than Cancer for Cure.
Dude.
And Cancer for Cure is
Cancer for Cure is an amazing album.
Yes, I know. I wouldn't take away anything from it.
But rap music, like right out of the gate, god damn. Like the first track is amazing.
Right.
You've got T.I., you got Bun B. Good
yes.
God. Like,
yes.
It's an amazing song. But Untitled, that second track. Ooh, that's an RTJ fucking song.
Yeah,
and
proto.
I love it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And he
Good
actually
shit.
he actually uses the same line in that he does in RTJ1 in Banana Clipper. It's the you are witnessing elegance in the form of a black elephant.
Oh, right.
He does that same thing in
I move with the elegance of an African elephant. I presented the evidence eloquent as a president.
He's the only person I've ever been like, I'm totally so fine with you reading that line because it's so good.
I would also say eloquent as a president. If you were to nominate anyone from the hip hop community to be in elected office, that's the guy
Killer
you want.
Mike.
Yeah.
I would like Killer Mike.
I mean, I like Kanye West, but hell no. Like, that's interesting.
I have so many opinions about Kanye West because about him as an artist.
I would love to talk
him
about
as a person. But like, yeah, if I was gonna elect someone from the hip hop community, well, yeah, there's a couple of people actually. If I was gonna elect a couple of people from the hip hop community for office, it would be Killer Mike or Talib Kweli.
Right. Fuck yeah.
I'm sorry, like Talib Kweli has this presence on Twitter where like he's been painted as this person who will always like fire back, and so it's like he's this explosive character. But it's not that. He will not back down to anyone talking anything that is inaccurate. Because that's the thing. You can go research any of his tweets and you're just like, well,
yeah,
he got you.
I feel like he's one of those friends, those old friends with Kanye who helps kind of keep him in line. I hope.
I don't know.
Like well, sometimes Kanye will post like tweets with John Legend, and John Legend's like, bro, you know.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what to say about Kanye at this point. But what do you think about his latest gospel album?
I think it's freaking beautiful. I think that it's
agree.
better than a few of his. For what I just enjoy listening to, I would take that over 808s, which is a very influential album.
That's a bold claim, but keep going.
I would take it over Yay.
Wow, that's a bold claim, but keep going.
And that's probably where the list stops. I've never been a huge fan of Graduation either. I know
that offends me, but keep going.
Right. So I really, really like the music on Jesus is King. I really like.
It's very good. Like I cannot deny it. That's the thing. I listened to it front to back and I went, I cannot deny this.
And the way, I mean, dude, it hits you from note one on every hour, right off the top with, boom, this is not going to be the rap album that that someone would expect from a Kanye West project.
No, but you know what he did is he still invoked patterns from Graduation, from Dropout. And that to me makes me feel sad for you because you didn't catch that. It's beautiful. Like when he does do his rap shit and it's still about Jesus. That's the thing is I can remove myself as a person who is not religious and say, you still made a gospel album. Not just that, like, again, like say you made a gospel album. That makes me sound like an asshole. You made a great gospel album. Like he did. It's a gospel album and it's good. And you can hate it if you want. But
I think it broke the record of going number one on 5 Billboard charts. It was on 200.
And if
it was
that's
on rap,
not planned, it
was on gospel. It was on, I think, like R&B, and then one other one, I think.
And I think he planned that. Like 100%. Come on.
Do you know that track, Everything We Need, on that?
Yes.
We got everything we need. Just the way he makes the vocal sound on that fucking album, just top to bottom, are just beautiful.
I totally agree. That's the thing. Like,
I mean, Ultralight Beam is one of my favorite Kanye songs. And this, in a way, this is like Ultralight Beam, the album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deal with it.
Yeah, I'm dealing with it. I'm having a lot of feelings about it, but I'm dealing with it.
I actually think when I listen now to The Life of Pablo, maybe I'm just nostalgic for 2016, but I don't know why anyone would be. That was a terrible, weird year in our history.
Not a great year. Yeah. I'm just going to say, like, personally, not a great year. Life of Pablo, when it came out, I remember
I think it was
coming
just
to me.
Amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I feel like maybe I missed that boat because when I listened to it, I went, okay, I hear a lot of things. your production, you're trying some stuff that is different but still consistent with Kanye. But it's not my favorite.
Right.
And I was okay with that, but I also felt let down because I was like, I want to feel good about this album, but I don't at all.
Yeah, we had different experiences with it for sure, man.
That's what I mean.
That
So
Father
like,
Stretch My Hands track. Man, this is like, I think that some of the sampling on that is like better than Watch the Throne sampling, and Watch the Throne has some amazing samples on it.
Watch your mouth, because Watch the Throne. Oh, we can talk about Watch the Throne.
Put on Otis,
okay,
and then right after it, put on Father Stretch My Hands.
They're not the same
first
track.
one.
I
know,
know,
but
because Jay's not involved, so you can't just throw something out there like that. Jay's not involved. Okay, I'm getting upset.
I'm talking about the beats. Jay is never that involved in the beats. He just waits until Swizz or Timbaland shows him something.
Ooh,
have you seen the video of Timbaland showing him Dirt Off Your Shoulder? Jay-Z just instantly starts dancing.
Yes. Yeah,
So
obviously.
simple, so great.
It's such a good beat.
Yeah.
But it's also not perfect. And I actually really like that about that beat. It's very made with a fucking, what is it? Cork Triton and...
Well, of course, yes.
Some other stuff that he had going on. Like, that's it. Like, you watch him do it on a Triton. Shit's not rocket science.
Yeah, I don't know gear.
It's that the fact... Oh. I've wanted to start a gear fanatic podcast because I love gear because I like the why behind why does it sound this way? Like, why does it sound this way that I'm talking through this microphone versus the microphone you're talking through? I like that stuff. It's great. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway,
well,
so
this
we've talked
microphone
about a lot
has
of
a
stuff.
Dalmatian and a shark on it, and so that's why I gave it to you.
I know.
Infantilizing.
And these are vicious, and so are these. And I'm terrified of these, not so much of these. So that's the thing.
Right.
And for anybody at home who couldn't see, I pointed to the Dalmatian, and I'm not afraid. But a great white, if I saw it in the ocean, I would die of a heart attack, hopefully, before it ate me. So there's that.
Do you have any musical predictions for this new decade we're in? Because I have 2 musical predictions, and I want to see how you respond to them.
I would actually like you to just start. Yeah.
Okay. One is the simple way to put it is there's going to be more white rappers, but what I really want to say is there's going to be more white people screaming into 808s. Screaming over 808s, like emo kind of vocal delivery over like blown out trap influenced instrumentals. I think that's gonna happen more. And okay, the second one
I've heard that as a trend, so right. I understand where you're coming from.
So I feel like that's gonna blossom more and more.
Okay.
And the second one is more rock bands that are like majority people of color, and more of them being like prominent. In terms of like picking up guitars and bass guitars and making what we would think of as rock music.
Sure.
Did you see the Billboard list of the 10 biggest rock songs of the decade?
I haven't.
Okay. Well, it's 3 or 4 Imagine Dragons tracks.
Oh no, I did see this.
21 Pilots tracks. Oh yeah.
I thought it was just a meme, but no, Jesus Christ.
It's real.
You have to know, Imagine Dragons is like my kryptonite. I think they're one of the worst things to happen to music. For a long time. And I can't even pick out a band in the 80s or 90s that I would compare to them, or even in the early 2000s. Imagine Dragons, I hate you so much. It's like I've had to sit and think about it.
Here's why I'm okay with laughing at your hatred. I'm okay with laughing at your hatred of this band because there's a certain point you get to in the corporate world, in any field, whether it's music or any entertainment. Those people aren't people anymore. Imagine Dragons is just like a corporate iconography of rock that gets thrown into our face.
Did you know there was
there's nothing human about it.
Did you know there's an article written about how the lead singer's son was getting bullied at school because he's in Imagine Dragons? And
Don't make me sad like that.
I didn't feel bad. I was like, make less shit music. Stop.
Have you ever heard of compassion fatigue? You don't have to feel bad. I feel bad because that's a kid, and you have no idea. You've got these intersections.
Compassion fatigue is now the new vernacular of just. Like
You've absorbed it into your soul.
Yes, it's just part of me now, and I feel great.
Well, yeah, you can't be expected to feel bad for everybody, because you know what? That kid cried into, a bathtub that could have been made of gold, solid gold. You know
he was
I mean?
like, I can't believe I'm crying into this porcelain tub filled with money. Like
the song Thunder plays in the bed. You know that song? Thunder.
So let's talk about that for just a quick second, because I have so many opinions on it. So
let's break down the lyrics. Just a young gun with a quick fuse.
No. Let's just break down the way that song's structured. Not great.
Get to the hook within 4 measures.
When you get to the thing and it's thunder, you should laugh because it's so humiliating. It hurts me inside as a content creator of things created.
What is that song about?
I don't know. That's the thing. When they go thunder. I'm not joking. It's painful. So I get you're trying to do what's...
What about when the...
No. Shh.
There's an instrumental bridge, and there's a vocoder guitar solo. It goes...
That's less bad than the idea of... That's less bad than when you're just trying to work in a sample, because that is what is compatible with what the industry is selling.
I just like the drums too, the really big fat drums. They're super self-important.
Hey, that sells it. Like let's not.
It's true.
Let's be honest. Those drums sell it.
I mean,
because that's musical. And then when he says stuff, it sucks. And then when they do that thunder.
Why does it make me laugh every time?
Because it's so humiliating that you can't believe a group would go, yep, signed off on it. It's great. I love it. Because every time I hear it, like it's a running joke at my work how much I hate Imagine Dragons. It's not a joke. Like, it's a running joke how much it's not a joke. How much it physically pains me to hear the music. I'm like, ugh.
I just think if you've made
actual kryptonite.
If you've made one song with the guitar in it ever, and that becomes a hit, you're now a rock band. It doesn't matter what music they play and make in this decade we're in now.
Thunder.
They're a rock band. They're a rock band, dude. You got to deal with it.
Makes me want to punch myself
in
the face.
Snoop Lion was never considered a real reggae artist.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry. Did you listen to the Snoop Lion album?
Hey. I listened to 2 tracks.
That's not enough. I listened to front to back while smoking hella weed, and I'll be honest, it was great.
Gosh.
I realize now that is biased.
You want to hear about when I first got high?
Sure.
Okay.
Hit me.
This was after high school.
Okay.
When?
19, 18, 22? When
2012.
Okay, just tell me what age you are. I don't know.
Sorry. What? Oh, I thought you got confused.
Jesus Christ.
I got very confused there. I thought you were thinking of was this 1918?
In 2012, how old were you?
2018. I had just graduated from high school. You know how old people are when that happens.
Yes.
So, and this girl Megan and I were hanging out, and we smoked marijuana. And I remember wanting any music. I wanted I didn't feel that much from the first time.
Okay.
But then I smoked a lot, and so I felt some stuff.
Not great.
And I wanted the music that we were listening to be slower music. That was a feeling I had.
Like you wanted to take the music you heard and slow it down, or
well, I
like,
wanted us to be listening to slower music, and then they put on some slower music, like some what was that? It wasn't Blue Tech. It was Tycho. Tycho.
Yeah,
They put on Tycho, and even that I wanted to be slower and more mellow. But
I love Tycho.
Then several times after that, when I would get high during that gap year before college, which was great, mostly I would just watch SpongeBob with my girlfriend who sold cannabis, and
Sick.
we just had a free supply of
SpongeBob and cannabis.
Yeah, and Family Guy.
Sounds great.
And occasionally Mortal Kombat, but I didn't like it because it was too violent.
We'll unpack that later.
I'm still a child.
I get it. I love it.
Yeah, and I just remember like all those times that I would get super high, like probably higher than I feel like I can get now, in a way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
that means you haven't been that high before.
But I would just always want to listen to songs about smoking weed. If I was high, I was like, I want to hear about music. Like, do you ever get a certain kind of high where it's like you want everything to be exactly how you want it to be? Like, like you become a little bit extra anal about like, like I could be, let's dim the lights in here and put on like Al Green's "Let's Stay Together," and like that's how I get really in my head, and I want it's like OCD-esque.
Well, to me that sounds selfish, so
yes.
No, I don't. But there are certain times where like definitely like for me, like if I want to listen to something and it will just be one of those things I can listen to forever or anytime, it's definitely soul music. And like like "Let's Stay Together" by Al Green, anything by Aretha Franklin. That's the stuff that like no matter what time it is, like especially if it's like say we had like a living room full of people, like
right,
I have no qualms about putting on Aretha Franklin and going, yeah, if you don't like this, you're an asshole.
I think that's a literal truth.
I know. Like that's the thing. It's like it's kind of a like
what could you be? You couldn't be a human and not like Aretha.
Those people. Dude,
you have to be something that's a little less than human, or at least a small fragment of a human.
Aretha
Probably
Franklin,
the rectal fragment.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Aretha Franklin is one of those end all be all. Can't believe that person existed and made what they did. Artists.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like it's one of those things.
I wish I was a little more up on her stuff.
Well, that's the thing. She has so much stuff.
Right.
That's the thing. The things that had impressions on me, like
and she's still powerful, dude. She's still rocking it.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's because her stuff transcends generations. It's
right.
not just about the stuff she made. It's about how she transcended generations. So Wax Poetics, I think, is a really important magazine. And it was one of those things that I picked up on because it was about music in such depth. And then I didn't realize that it had such a vinyl, component until getting to see it a little bit. And reading some of their articles, it was interesting, like when they had, Aretha Franklin on the cover. And they talked about the album, I think it's 1968, "I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You." That album is still significant to me, but it's only truly significant to me because it was significant in music history. You hear where it kind of divided a line.
Right.
She was able in 1968 to help bridge the gap between gospel, soul music,
Yes.
and just what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible.
And
That's where like Respect came from. That Respect's on that album,
Right.
but like Do Right, Woman, All Night Man. Oh my God, one of the best songs I think I've ever heard.
She sings "Come See About Me," right?
Oh yeah. Well, no.
Oh no. Okay.
Come See About Me. I can't remember the top of my head. It's not her.
Okay.
Like that might be a Supremes type thing, but that also doesn't seem right for that group.
Okay.
But
It's not the Shirelles, is it?
it could be
It could
something
be.
like that.
I don't know.
Like,
such a fruitful era of music, but
incredible era for music. So like when it
I
came
wish
to
I knew
sampling,
more. Yeah.
like when it made you dive deeper.
You're right.
And so that was the thing I really like about sampling is you can't really stop where you first start. You know what I mean? Like I started doing like 90s groups, 80s groups, 70s, 60s. And like as you get in, like as you go deeper, it's thicker because you're starting to look at different groups that you knew were influential. Like if you're going to sample Earth, Wind, and Fire, you can sample Earth, Wind, and Fire forever because their stuff is so dynamic,
right?
Melodically, rhythmically, and just the arrangement. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's
Shining
fucking
Star is
stupid.
an amazing song.
Get out. Like, it's an amazing song.
That is just a slapper.
Oh.
If there ever was one.
Oh, yeah. And
it both thumps and knocks.
Thumps, knocks, slaps.
Makes me want to smang it.
I don't know what that means.
There was a video that, no, I don't need to explain. Let me smang it. Smash it and bang it. I explained it. Okay. Moving on. So, do you feel like there are any genres of music that are just worthless?
No.
All right, I figured you would say that.
No, because
just wanted to use it as a jumping point for conversation.
No, it's great. I could never be someone with an authority to ever say that there is a type of music that is irrelevant or useless or anything like that. Everybody has their different perspective on how they access music and how they access the inspiration they get from it. So I could never really say that there was, I don't know, anything invalid about someone's approach to music.
I always think, though, that if anyone asked me, you know, if there's a genre that I think is like the most worthless genre, like Nazi skinhead punk, right?
Well,
there's also
now you make me sound like a real piece of shit. Because Thomas, that's a really terrible thing.
It's a subgenre.
It is,
but it's a real genre.
I know, and it's terrible. There's even a hip hop version of it, which is fucking terrible.
There is? Oh no! Don't name any artists or songs here, please.
I won't. But if you find it online, just try as hard as you can to not remember.
I thought the worst, the most immoral that rap got was there's a group that made a song called Christian Side Hug for this big youth Christian like festival
Christian
thing. Give me that Christian side hug. That Christian side hug. I'm a rough rider filled up with Christ's love. Give me that Christian side hug. Give me yeah.
Sick. Dude, that's hard as fuck, and honestly, I can't
but it's like but here's the best part is if someone sees you like a woman, because women make men lust after them.
It's true.
You know? And that's a sin. If a woman approaches you, you cannot approach forward and embrace forward.
Never.
Looking at each other, the whole full body pressing. Oh my gosh. It's practically fornication, Crosby. You have to turn. You gotta turn to the side, pat her on the back, because Jesus never hugged nobody like that. Screaming, give me that Christian side hug.
That is fucking.
The reason
bananas.
that's immoral is because it's like literally revisionist history. This is a podcast called Less Stupid, so let's bring some intellectual, veracity into this. There is no evidence to say that Jesus never hugged anybody chest to chest. So that's
listen here, brother. Jesus was a chest-to-chest hugger.
He was. He chest-to-chest
might
hugged the
fucking hate
prostitutes. He was hanging out with all sorts of people.
Like, that happened. I'm sorry. Like,
Right.
it's real. Moving on. Jesus hugged prostitutes. I'm into it.
Yeah. Do you are you a person who has any kind of faith?
No. Little in humanity. I acknowledge and appreciate different religions and their perspective. But as an individual, pretty hopeless.
Don't you think it's like pretty insane though that if we all evolved from a single-celled life form, and you think about all the stages of reproduction that had to happen, like all the times that people reproduced for you to be alive, if any one of those didn't happen, you wouldn't be here.
That just makes me feel...
Doesn't that make you feel like it's a little bit of a miracle that you're here?
No.
You're just like, yeah, I wish one of those fuckers had died.
No, it just makes me feel bad that I didn't appreciate the fact that I ended up here. But like, I wish someone could look inside my brain and then say, I don't want that. Because I get it. Like, that's the thing. But you don't want this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this isn't great.
Okay.
It's one of those things that makes me afraid about kids. Like, I could make other kids and they would be fucking hilarious. Like, let's be clear. They would be fucking hilarious.
You're just so...
But they would be riddled with problems. Like,
you're so certain that your kids would have an above-average sense of humor, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where do you get
that?
That
would
arrogance?
come straight from me.
Where's
and
that
they would be
confidence come
fucking
from?
hilarious. Because I'm not going to procreate with someone who's not hilarious. Like...
That's like one of the last things I
mean, she's gonna be hilarious. Hilarious.
This guy is not on the market for you boring people out there.
If you're woke as fuck, swipe left. Not for you. Because I'm fucking crazy.
Who are some of your comedic influences? What if I just tagged this whole podcast as being like, oh, Crosby Kneale, the comedian? What if I did this whole podcast as a series of times when I misrepresent what people do later and there's nothing they can do about it because they signed a form?
One, I haven't signed anything. But two,
but you're going to.
I would really like to do stand-up comedy. I'm just terrified of doing it. So actually, you know what? I'll share one of my first jokes with you.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so one of the first times I ever did an open mic, I tried to do crowd service because I didn't know like what else to do. I did one of those like, where are you from? And so like the first person I was like, where are you from? And they're like, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Where are you from? And I did it, and they were like, Columbine. Mm-hmm. So what do you do in your off time? And they're just like, oh, our whole fucking town is covered in a black cloud of a mass murder.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
They're witty.
Like,
You picked the wrong motherfucker to do crowd work with.
I was like, do you ski on the weekends? It was like, nope. Because we're always sad. And I was like... So where are you from? I immediately just, what do you do
hard
at that
pivot.
point? Yeah, you had a hard pivot because that was rough.
You know, I heckled Aziz Ansari.
I'm so happy about that.
I bopped from...
Please keep telling me.
I like Aziz Ansari.
I do too, but Jesus.
I bopped from Columbia University down to the Comedy Cellar, the Village Underground, which is part of the Comedy Cellar.
Hey.
Yeah, boy. And it was a stacked lineup. I knew that Dave Attell was going to be on, so I was like, that's an A-lister.
I love
That's an A-lister. And I showed up, and motherfucking, like, 13 comedians were on the bill. They just kept going.
Jesus.
And it was amazing. And almost all of them were great. And
Awesome.
The fourth act, I think, one of the first several was Bill Burr. So Bill Burr just comes out here and rips it and starts testing out a lot of his material. This is like freaking
He's great.
like 10 months ago.
Sure.
And so, you know, he's railing about all the stuff that's happening in the world. And there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the world. And he's testing out his not so politically correct material on like a little room of 80 people, and I'm one of them. It's pretty fucking fantastic.
Sure.
Rachel
That's awesome.
Feinstein was on that.
Awesome.
She's hilarious. Yeah, and then David Tell did his thing for the longest time, and then, you know, as they told us, you know, make sure you're not recording on your phone, blah blah blah. I was, but the Aziz Ansari came and fucking did like 20 minutes, man. It was awesome. It was awesome. And yeah, he was talking about, I don't remember. Yeah, no, he was saying something about like about tandoori chicken and garlic naan, and then he started saying something about his show, and then like there was a moment where the applause died down, and you could tell he was actually a little bit rusty.
Okay.
Because he hadn't been doing comedy for a while because of the allegations and the thing that he did, and that was one of the cases that was very borderline. You know,
I agree. I think it was pretty borderline. Just
right.
But
we don't need to get into it too much because it seems like every goddamn time I get on a podcast and talk about shit like that.
I have so many feelings.
Right. Let me say this: men need to be better across the board.
100%. I know a lot of men that when I see them demonstrate themselves in, say, just like a bar aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
You are fucking trash. Anyway.
Yeah.
From two sensitive guys
I think people
respect women and like
we do our best.
What you do.
We do our best. Yeah, sometimes, you know, you look at the other homeboy and you're like,
what the fuck are you
we
doing?
On the same team here?
Yeah, I know. No. I've been there before. Like I've definitely distanced myself from personal relationships just based on that. Like,
yeah,
just a few encounters where you see them interact with women and you're like, well, I can't be associated with that. Like, you're an asshole. Sorry. Like, I can see what you're doing. Like, and sometimes you get clued off to how they talk. There's a definite like specific person I'm thinking about, but then when you see them interact in real time, you're like, wow, yeah, it's not just talk. You're this person, and that sucks because I don't like that person, or I don't want you around any of my friends because that's really shitty. Yeah, and you're an awful human.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where you definitely, it just sucks.
Yeah, it's an awful situation.
It poisons everything when people harass anyone.
I'm pretty hard line when it just comes to a certain point where, and that's something that even therapists have told me, like, well, you need to be more, like gray area with people. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to certain
you are a pretty hardline thinker.
Yes, and that's not unnatural for me to hear. But yeah, I'm sorry if you demonstrate yourself in a certain way. That's how you are until proven otherwise. Like until you choose to do differently,
right?
And that to me is really, really important.
I think that's integrity. I saw a great thing on that basically said, never accept an apology without changed behavior.
Yes.
Everything that happened with Me Too, and with the culture, or hopefully we can do a better job. We have a framework now for recognizing accountability with people that we like, people we look up to. Yes. But changed behavior has to be at the root of it.
Because if you just talk about it, then it's nothing.
And I also think that to just be punitive is also kind of nothing, what's the point of taking away, like, oh, let's say like Mel Gibson is an example where it's like, oh, that guy was an asshole. Okay, now we know he's an asshole and he's just still an asshole. That's not that doesn't help that much. It's like we need people to change their behavior.
So,
that
like,
comes with humanizing people, and it comes with making sure accountability is
like,
there.
I have Jewish friends. I'm sorry, like,
Right.
when people think it's weird that I don't want to watch Mel Gibson films,
I never would watch. Yeah, Mel Gibson.
It's funny.
And I'm not like a big like. I'm not like a
big.
big like. Oh, like, you know, purity test, woke, cancel kind of person. But I
know.
I'm like, why would I don't need to watch a Mel Gibson movie. You know how many goddamn movies there are out there I could watch right now.
Exactly. No, I feel the same way. Like, so like I had a friend of mine who was like, you're really not gonna watch Mel Gibson films? So I went, I don't need to. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this dude demonstrated himself as an anti-Semitic piece of shit. Why do I need to support him just because he did, like, The Passion of the Christ? Okay, yeah, and it was a gnarly ass movie. And then before that, he did, what was the thing where he did? It was the thing like, he was frozen for a while. And
We don't need to go through this guy's filmography.
Doesn't even
It's cool.
matter.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I was like, I don't fucking care. Like, when you say anti-Semitic shit and then
Right.
your father encourages anti-Semitic shit, like, you're a piece of shit. Like, I don't need to fucking back that up. I don't care about not watching your films. It means nothing to me. Like, it doesn't like, oh,
Yeah,
I
no,
can't
I didn't
watch
feel like I
Forever
lost
Young?
anything.
Fuck. Like,
I never
don't
cared for
care.
Braveheart. Yeah. Damn it, why am I doing his filmography now too? Let's talk
okay.
about someone we love. All right.
Hey, let's talk about people we love.
Tenacious D put out a song, and it's so funny because I was
haven't
in the
heard
dish
it.
pit at the sandwich shop I work at,
Sick.
Chiba Hut.
Nice.
And
nice.
yeah, dude, I
I
work
heard
there
Chiba
now.
Hut's a good place to work for. So honestly, like, I don't feel bad. Like, that's good. Like, that's a good business to work for.
Yeah. You're the death of a salesman guy that I'm talking to. Well, I
have a lot of
The
sorrow.
Illusionist 2012, Death of a Salesman, an incredible album about how much it sucked to work at a place where no one in the band liked to work. That's basically
Where we all rose
right?
up too high to see what was really happening.
Yeah.
But this was really Sammy's album that he wrote. Like, he did. He really illustrated the whole experience for me, Gabe, and I. He really did. Like,
Yeah.
It was one of those things like,
You said me, Gabe, and I, so you said yourself twice instead of saying Evan.
oh, sorry. And Evan. Yikes.
Check out the Bat Fan Addict podcast if you like Batman.
Truth.
Evan, Sammy, and one other dude.
A. Sammy, Evan, Gabe, and I. It was an interesting time because, again, like, Sam really captured vocally what we were going through.
Right.
And then a lot of it just came through the music. Like, I got a couple tracks in there, but Gabe really knew how to emote through beats. He was really good at complimenting Sam. Like, he still is. He's really good at complimenting and understanding Sam as a songwriter, as a creative. I'm not at that level that Gabe is at. Me and Sam still have differences because I have things that I want to complete as a artistic idea, and so does Sam. They don't always line up, and I think that's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's just super unique to see how Gabe and Sam have always fit together like glue.
One of my favorite Gabe and Sam stories is when Casual from Hieroglyphics got back to Sam and said that he would do Redefine the Flow remix. And so he got freaking, I guess he texted or called Gabe right away, and they were just like fucking got together right away and made the beat. Like, Casual's going to be on it. We got to make the beat.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
It's a fat beat.
Well, Gabe's not going to sleep. That's the thing. He's not
Right.
gonna
He's an obsessive character. If
Well, it's not just that. He's not going to sleep on that. Like, if he hears that, I know in Gabe, he's going to be like, ding, there's that thing. oh, I'm
Yes.
gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like he gets inspired by
Right.
that. Like,
I
and
hope
think-
I wasn't demeaning when I said obsessive. My creative energy
no,
is obsessive,
like,
so I project that a little bit
I am
sometimes.
too obsessive, and
Right.
I don't think Gabe would be taken back by hearing someone call him obsessive. But he has a better execution over other people who are obsessive. If that makes sense. He might obsess about it, but he knows how to execute it. That's the thing. Like when he's worked on other beats in the past with Sam, he gets how to detect what Sam wants, and that's very unique for a producer.
Right.
And if you can do that again and again, to me that's a wonderful creative relationship that you can continue building upon. They've had their ups and downs, but
Right.
it doesn't matter. Like there's still something there. Like I'm super glad that I got to be a part of Bears Repeating with Issa, because I respect Issa as an artist and a producer. And the fact that he and I were the producers for Sammy's Bears Repeating.
It was an amazing album.
Thank you. Like, because I love that album still. And there's something about, like, it was timing. And I'm going to say something really...
Was Parents Just Don't Understand, was that you? The very first track?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
anyway.
this is going to sound really crass. But
Box Cutter was you, and that was fucking flame.
it was. It was, and I appreciate that. The thing about a lot of albums, I truly think, is time and place. Where Sammy was at, based on what he wanted, based on where I was at, based on where Issa was at. We were able to create something that, to me, like, I was so happy to be a part of, because I was so happy to hear Sammy flow over any beats that I did,
Right.
any beats that Issa did, and it had a cohesiveness to it that I was just so happy to be a part of. Truly.
It did. Very cohesive project.
And he's had lots of cohesive projects since, but
Right.
it's one of those things that whenever
Famous
I
Last
listen,
Words is a very cohesive project.
it's a great
KI.
cohesive project. And
Yeah.
dude, come on, like KI, he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he knows what he's
Absolutely.
doing.
Right in that lane.
I was jealous. Like I was jealous because I went.
That makes... Sam is really good at making albums that make me want to rap.
Sick. That's good though.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things. Like
Yeah. I didn't finish
that's
a
a
thought
good
earlier about...
inspirational artist.
I'm a competitive person, and it's like Sam and I didn't have like a great 2019 at all. Hopefully, we'll have a better 2020. It was mostly
What do you
I was
mean you
really
didn't have a good
annoying, and I
2019?
had like my friendship with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten better now.
Sure.
But part of it is I was getting a little too manic, and I was dealing with a lot of mental health stuff.
Sure.
And he saw some of the height of that.
And I've been there.
It kind of freaked him out.
Sure.
And I understand that. But one thing that I texted him was I really believed that like within 5 years, and I still believe this, that I want to be working with Tech Nine directly.
Cool.
So like this April, I'm gonna give Tech Nine an award. I got VIP for his Eugene show.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give him an award, and that's
Okay.
how I want to like get my little foot in the Strange Music door.
Sure.
And whether that means that I would be an artist on Strange Music, or I really want to be. I'm thinking about how I really want to be like an intellectual property like lawyer,
Okay.
like a hip hop lawyer.
Yeah.
My point is, I just want to be working
need
with
it.
that dude.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, it's like I said something about like I was like, yeah, so like let me know when you want a tech feature on your shit, and that was like too pie in the sky, like
Sure.
ridiculous, and
Sure.
but I'm the kind of person I said earlier, like I want to do Drake numbers. Like I would love to be the most famous rapper that Oregon has ever produced.
Sure.
Because Oregon's never produced a very famous rapper.
I agree with
like
that.
a super duper famous rapper.
And to
So
me,
why not?
Here's the thing. I completely agree with that. Is I don't understand why Oregon hasn't produced a major rapper. I don't. I don't. Because I feel like I've seen so much talent here. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So, like, anyone I've tried to collaborate with in Portland has been a bust. The one that was, like, kind of okay was through a metal band where, like, we did a metal / like hip-hop show. And it was, like, a metal / like trap show. It worked out pretty well.
Nice.
This dude, like, here local, who's Micah.
That's cool.
Dude, here's the thing. Like, one, Micah's really cool. He was just, like, a cool dude. Like, he came up to everybody in the band and was like, hey, man, thanks for being here. Like, this is so cool. I'm so glad we made this happen. And then he put on a fucking really good set. And again, if you don't like trap, you probably won't like it.
Sure.
If you can bob your head to, like, 160 dB to like 150 dB, you'll fucking dig it. And it was fucking awesome. He did a great fucking job.
Yeah.
And, like, he's still doing gigs around here in Portland. Like, that's cool. He's still doing gigs around here in Portland. Who's the big person to come out of Portland? That's something that, it sounds silly, but, like, why not shoot for that?
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
what's the worst that happens? I fail?
Exactly.
Fuck.
Exactly. And I just know, I'm doing this podcast. I came here, this morning. You didn't know I was going to come here. But we just do it. I just roll up in here on a day where I don't work at either of my jobs. I make something productive out of the day. Ooh. I got the drive and the hustle. Ooh. And we didn't even know what the fuck we were going to talk about.
But it happened.
And it happened. But I always like to ask people, we're about an hour and 20, so
awesome.
I think we're good. Wrap up in about 10 minutes.
Sure.
So if you have any important thoughts that you want to get out there, let them mull around and then spill them. But I like to ask people, what's one way we could all be less stupid?
One way to be less stupid is trust your gut. As a creative person, if you're creating something, trust your gut. Don't necessarily base it off of everything that's popular, because I've tried that. Don't try and base it off of what your peers think is necessarily popular, because I've tried that.
Right.
It sounds so cliche, but you have to be you. The thing that feels right, do what feels right. Don't compromise. Okay? Don't compromise. You'll know when the right time is to compromise, and that's if you're working with someone that wow, they have something to offer what I'm doing. It's willing to compromise. Otherwise, don't. Keep doing what you're doing. Because the best thing that I've done in my entire life is 2 albums I'm sitting on that are things I haven't shown but maybe 2-3 people. It was because I had to be brave enough to make it and stand by it. Still, don't compromise. Be you.
Well, I think if anybody had tried thinking about the evolution of your music and your sound for as long as I have been aware of it, which is like 2011 to now.
That's a long time.
When you say don't compromise, like, I think that your music has changed and grown naturally, not as a result of anybody saying, hey, make stuff that sounds more industrial, make stuff that sounds more like freaking 808 driven. It's just this natural human conversation that you're in with the rest of the music world that has gotten you to a place where it's different. What have you been listening to lately?
Leon Bridges.
Okay. Who's that?
So my biggest influence is soul music in all its capacities. So, the things I know from growing up are the Spinners, Supremes, the Shirelles, all these groups.
Right.
You know, and then also like Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield. Leon Bridges to me is this wonderful culmination of, honestly, it's like a it's hard to say, but like a Marvin Gaye meets like Otis Redding. He has this wonderful voice,
Wow.
and it's true soul music. Like you hear it.
Yeah.
Like he has several albums, but honestly, the album Good Thing,
Okay.
listen to it from front to back.
Mm-hmm.
They cater to not just the soul genre, but you hear the clarity in what they want to communicate to people who like hip hop and R&B. You hear it. Like
Right.
it's so clean. The mixes are so clean. And again, it's so soul. It's inspirational. Like I draw inspiration from just that album, Good Thing, often, because it's one of the only things recently that has been able to catch my attention aside from like Beach House. Like Beach House.
Interesting.
Beach House is one of the greatest bands I think
Yeah.
that come along in the last 10 years. And if people don't agree, like, you can go fuck off. Like their tone, the
Yes.
songwriting,
The reverb.
well, they don't do anything more than what they're trying to convey.
Right.
And their stuff is so delicate and beautiful. It's a wonderful balance. It truly is.
Nice.
Yeah. Beach House was one of those bands where like a person I was with for a long time, and I thought like our song was this one song by Beach House,
Yeah.
ended up being the undoing of our relationship. But it made sense because I was like, it was I'll Take Care of You, and that's an amazing song. But it made me realize why I shouldn't be with one person. And it was fascinating how I knew like it made me want to be with someone else. And it's a wild ass song. Like it's simple and elegant in the way that it's recorded and executed.
If you could take any two artists and have them do an album together, who would you be? For me, it would be an album that was rumored that they kept saying they were going to do it. Kept saying it was even happening, and it didn't happen. And I hope it happens. And that is Childish Gambino and Chance the Rapper. Those are probably, in terms of the music that I have been making lately, it hasn't come out. Nothing's come out. But I drive to the airport 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute drive from the hotel. I work at a sandwich shop and a hotel. From the hotel to the airport is 20 minutes, and I do that twice, one way. So 4 times every shift.
Yeah.
It was a really terrible way to just say that I drive a lot for work. And if there are pilots that I'm driving, that I'm not playing the music loud, and it's the same boring ass drive, you better believe that I'm constantly coming up with like, oh, how can I use this time? And I am coming up with rap lyrics. I'm coming up with flows. I'm being inspired by the shit that's on the radio. And
Are you telling me you're rapping at random people?
In my head?
Okay, in your head.
But I've been
that's
doing that my
fine.
whole life.
Out loud, I would definitely judge you.
No, I'm not. But
Okay.
sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 like super hard bars.
Okay.
Like that is a great couplet. That is a great line. But I'm driving, so I can't write them down. And so I'm like, okay, let's say shoe is on the other foot, roses, Crosby. I'm like thinking those 3 things, repeating them in my head, so that when I get off at the hotel and I get their bags and I pass them along, I can open the voice memo and then spit those lines so I don't forget them.
Okay.
But I've been doing a lot of Chance the Rapper-y cadences and vocalizations.
Okay.
And I've been doing a lot of Childish Gambino kind of
laid back energy and singing, and
Okay.
those motherfuckers need to just. I don't even care if they just crap it out. I think that's one of the difficulties with supergroup records is that there's a pressure on it, pressure for it to be like, okay, one great artist plus one great artist equals a doubly great project, and that's not always possible.
Sure, absolutely. Like, it depends what you're doing. Like, if you are trying to create a track where you're trying to capture the essence of stuff that Childish Gambino does and what Chance does, I think those are two very good endeavors, though they're going to be very difficult because both of them have two very specific and wonderful approaches to music.
Right.
Childish Gambino, well, yeah, he kind of has this gambit, you know, of things that he wants to go for and achieve per track. Where Chance stays kind of in his lane with this modern gospel, Chance-ish blend.
Yes.
And I don't think it's bad. It's fucking
Trumpets.
Wonderful. Like, I like it. I like it. Yeah, exactly. Like, he adds on to what the choir can do. You know what I mean? He really makes it this thing. And I think that's great. Like, that's you have to judge the music for what it is. If he's gonna make these hip hop / R&B / soul inspired tracks, I mean, there's gonna be this gospel element he's not gonna be able to shake, especially if he's raised in a church. Like, it's that shouldn't be suppressed. That should be fucking just as prominent as he wants it.
I want to hear your supergroup though, but I thought of another one.
Can we pause? Because I have to piss.
I don't want to do an edited show, man.
All right, well, I'm gonna piss
in the next few minutes.
Sweet.
Okay.
You fucking
okay.
The time.
All right.
I'm gonna piss. That's happening.
I will pause. I'm not gonna just solo rant for a while. I think we're back into doing the thing, yeah.
I think we're already back into it. You're into it. You're in it now.
We could.
You're fucking in it, dude.
You could jump in. No, you jump in, man. Can you, Croz? Can you sit here?
Yes, I can.
All right.
So
now, wait. Let
we
me
are
introduce
live.
the jump in.
Okay, here we go.
All right. You just saw an abrupt jump because Croz had to take a piss right after he talked about how much he loves Beach House.
I love Beach
I'm trying
House.
to do a fully unedited show, but sometimes you get the technical difficulties that come in here.
Oh, bagels
And then
out.
sometimes you live with someone named Danny who you co-make Trash Planet with, and then you want that person to come into the podcast mid-episode. How you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Cool. So what the hell is Trash Planet?
Trash Planet is a little cartoon about people who don't have enough answers to life, and they're looking for it in a world that has even less answers.
I like that.
Yeah.
It seems that there are a lot of characters who there's what I pick up in Trash Planet is social awkwardness in terms of wanting to communicate but being passive aggressive or being in a passive aggressive sort of society. Was that intentional?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's kind of like a thing that I mean, it's just, I think, a way that I've kind of experienced things. Like, I've definitely been kind of raised and been around really bizarre. Like, I was raised in, like, a pretty poor area, and I was, like, very poor. And trying to figure out how things worked, it was always kind of, like, externally, like, asking other people. But then you'd always assume that somebody else has the answer, but it never seems right. You know what I mean? So I'm always under the assumption that somebody else knows more than me, and I'm kind of like, that doesn't seem like that's right either. So it's always this recalibration of trying to figure out, how to be a person,
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you link up with Crosby, who does some of the amazing music that I think is so well suited
It's
for
great.
the aesthetic?
Fast. No, Yeah, Crosby and I have been friends since like middle school, man. Yeah, so we go way back. So there is like a huge contextual agreement there. Like we were both raised in the same area and we're around the same people that kind of serve as an inspiration to the backdrop of Trash Planet. But also, you know, just like knowing each other, like knowing his music, it was just like a good fit for that purpose automatically without necessarily even having to try, I guess. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
It's a huge compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about working with this guy on this shit?
It's been real good.
Don't look in the camera.
No.
Fourth wall shattered.
Yeah.
Well, no, seriously, like, I was really happy when Danny brought me in about a year ago on the second episode that he had self-produced, and he wanted me to be the sound person to like kind of help with like mixing and like kind of just balancing stuff, and I loved it, and yeah, I'm glad to still be a part of the crew here on and to like all these other episodes that we're making now.
Sweet. So I heard you guys sold out recently.
Yeah.
What is it? How does it feel to throw all of your values and ethics into the wind for the capitalist pursuit of glory?
I love it. It's the best. I'd rather sell myself for something that I like doing than sell myself out for something that I don't like
I
doing.
like that. Artists out there, know your worth.
Yeah.
It's hard to get funding for the kind of thing that you're doing. So, I mean, that isn't that pretty cool that tangibly someone is like, yes, this is valuable.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely really cool because it's definitely like it's a new thing for me. You know what I mean? I didn't do this as like, you know, I come from a family of content creators. Like this is all kind of new to me. So figuring it out and trying to do this has been validating. It's also kind of been like a kind of a perfect merger of like a lot of things that I've been really interested in my past. Like I've spent a lot of time playing music. I spent a lot of time like, you know, not necessarily like writing comedy, but kind of like being like the funny guy and appreciating other funny people.
Nice.
Also drawing a lot.
And then like, yeah, exactly. And then drawing, a ton of drawing, you know, so it's been really cool and validating to have someone say like, you know, we want to give you money to do this kind of thing. And it's been even more than that, cool and validating to actually say, hey, can you help me with this? And I will give you money to do so. It's nice to be able to say, hey, can you not do it? You don't have to do it for free. I like that. That I'm into.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, I wouldn't even know. I think I'm one of the people who, when I see animation, I don't even know how it begins. Like from the, because, you know, the classic cartoons having been hand drawn, and you think of it as just being this frame by frame hand drawn process. But now there's so many different ways to tell animated stories. Where would like a person start who wanted to get into it, who let's say was like a sketch artist?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, like, so if you have access to it, and I started by basically just buying like an iPad, and I would just draw these little characters, and there was kind of like a logical progression of being like, well, maybe if I can do these things, like I can tell jokes in this way, and it was just like tinkering for a really long time.
Right.
But if you want to like learn how to use like, you know, Flash, you can download earlier versions of Flash, and they're because of things like the Newgrounds generation. There were so many people that made these Flash tutorials where you could teach yourself whatever you want, especially with something like Flash, which has been, that's what I use. It's called Adobe Animate now.
Oh, cool.
But it's all the same things apply. They just have more things that you can now do. So like I think I looked up a guy Jazza, and I just found a ton of stuff. But that thing that you're talking about, like this idea of like I don't know where to start, it feels that was a big thing for a long time. I was like, oh, it'd be funny to like do comedy or do jokes.
Right.
But not knowing exactly how one does that, it's like it can prevent you from getting started. But yeah, I mean, you have the internet now. You can do whatever you want if you look into it.
Well, like, did you tell him how you got into animating in the first place? Because that was like bananas to me. Like when you got your job at Amazon, but also got to supplement your time with learning animation?
Oh yeah, well I mean, so yeah,
You brought someone from the Bezos crowd into my podcast without telling me. No, sorry.
Yeah, so we got I got a gig where I probably shouldn't be too specific, but we have a lot of downtime. We'll say that, and I was able to use a lot of that downtime to supplement this. Like, okay, well, I have all this free time now, and I can learn this thing on the side. So I was able to kind of teach myself this thing without having to take this huge like pay hit. So it was kind of like a little bit of striking when the iron was white hot situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold this, buddy.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do something cool, which is when there's so much you want to ask Danny that you don't know what to ask Danny, so you just make Crosby ask Danny something.
Well, did you guys read
I'll do
about
it.
Beach House, right? I don't want to get too much into the.
Ooh, but baby. Okay, so like you know what Beach House is. So here's the thing. Those who don't know, I'm sorry for you. But Beach House is really a wonderful musical experience.
I think I've totally gotten them mixed up with Surfer Blood. You know Surfer Blood?
That sucks. And it makes me hate everything you're saying right now so much. With like such
You laugh.
like it hurts.
See, that's why I said reverb.
So much. So here's the thing. Beach House is
Oh,
great.
they didn't hear it at home because it got cut out, but I was saying, oh, Beach House, ooh, lots of reverb. And then you
They're
looked at me
great.
like-
Accurate. Like they
Right.
are
They're great.
swimming in this
Don't-
stuff.
okay.
That's great,
Don't
though.
don't remember anything that he said that was bad, because it'll make me sad. And I'll get real upset.
Okay.
Okay,
You're not
so
asking him a question, though.
Here
Ask
we
him
go.
something about Trash Planet. Because this episode, I'm sorry, it's no longer an episode with Crosby. It's an episode with Trash
Both of
Planet.
us.
It's a better name than Odar. It's a more provocative name than
It's not Odar.
What?
It's Croz K, baby.
Croz K.
Just go by Croz. Yeah,
Crosby Kizzle.
that's me. You're in it now,
Open up,
and I like it.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like, so how was it getting handed an opportunity like Trash Planet, like someone backing the project itself?
Okay, so thank you, dude. I love this. Like,
Oh, big.
Yeah.
it was really cool. For all of the reasons that I mentioned before. I can't get into too many details
Yes.
Yeah.
about it. Other than we are working on more.
NDAs.
Yeah.
Yep. Non-disclosure.
Yep. Exactly. So, which is, I'm not messing with that stuff.
Yeah, no.
Like, hey, first opportunity, and you ruined it. Done. Yeah. So, but it's been really cool, man. It's been really cool, and it's been fun, exciting, and equal parts stressful. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to do this thing, and it's no longer just. In fact, it's no longer your thing at all. Somebody actually owns it.
That's
so
true, isn't
you
it?
have to really work, and it's, it can be pretty vulnerable, like having somebody else tell you how to do your work. And so far, the notes that we've got and the people we've been working with have been trustworthy, I would say, and it's been fine. But it's there's just a lot of new and a lot of growth within this, which I think is a positive thing. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, I asked him, and I got to ask you, what's one way we can all be less stupid?
What's one way we can be less stupid?
Yes. So what's one way we can all be less stupid?
And recap your answer, because I'm hoping that it
Oh,
stayed in the
shit.
file. That didn't get
Probably
10,
not.
10 minutes or so in history.
How can we be less stupid?
Yeah.
Oh shit, homie. Honestly, I think a lot of it comes. Yeah. Let me.
You're
Honestly,
making this unlistenable.
I think a lot of it comes down to listening. I'm sorry, like
There's already my really heavy breathing. Don't listen to that.
one thing I really learned in school was listening is harder than communicating. So
Wow.
really it's just that. Try harder to listen to messages that are being said to you so that you can hopefully, and I say this to myself too, hopefully I'm more communicative to what's being said to me. That's a terrible explanation. I'm going to pass it off. Here we go.
I would say, I guess, lead with a degree of humility. I am pretty assumptive that I am in the wrong in some capacity, and that I have some way of learning, and that can be, involved in like interpersonal communication with like friends, family, things like this, or even strangers, or even just like factually, like there's a lot of information that I've been wrong on, and just having a degree of humility of like, you want to get better, you want to do these things better. And being less stupid, I think, requires a degree of that kind of humility, of being able to know when you're wrong and know when you're stupid, or know when you're handling a situation without, grace or whatever, that if you dedicate a little bit of time to, you can learn from pretty quickly.
Wonderful. Danny, Crosby, I want to ask, are there any places that you want people to find you, follow your work? Where can they find Trash Planet, etc.?
I'm going to have Crosby go first, because I'm going to need to look up the specific URL to my YouTube page.
Okay.
At Robit Boy.
No, I think it's on Twitter at Robot Danny Jr.
Okay.
On Twitter, it's at Robot Danny Jr.
There you go.
Spelled out sounds.
There it is.
And on YouTube, just search Trash Planet, I guess.
What is it on Instagram, homie? Because I thought it was at Robit Boy.
Yeah, I think it is at Robot Boy.
Well,
With
then I just nailed it.
That boy. B-O-I.
B-O-I?
Yeah.
Okay.
R-O-B-I-T.
Yeah.
Excellent. And
that's what it is.
Are you SoundCloud.com/Odar Beats? You're like,
yes.
Regrettably.
Yeah.
It's the last thing you'll hear from Odar Beats. Everything else is gonna be Croz K, baby.
All right. Well, I want to apologize to the listeners, not because you guys weren't fantastic, but because this is going to be the most difficult thing to mix and master later, with both mics having been passed around, and I hope that you don't hate it.
He just made it harder for himself, so I don't feel bad.
Peace. All right, cool. Thanks, guys.